I'm building an off-grid cabin on this property I got when I was 17, in the same spirit as my ancestors, where I can enjoy nature, do some fishing, and get some first-hand construction experience. As you'll see in this video, money might not necessarily run in the family, but redneck ingenuity definitely does. I'm building this place using only hand tools and some limited battery-powered tools, while transporting all the materials needed using my SUV. And I'm funding this whole project myself while trying to get an education at the same time. The previous owner I bought the property off of left me with a pretty shoddy foundation, which in my last video I reinforced, framed up the walls and the roof on top of that, and put on this metal roofing. I tried to weatherproof the cabin as much as possible by using house wrap and some drip edge, and then started to prepare the window and door openings to get this place completely waterproof and sealed in from the elements. I'm going to be putting in the windows and the doors. I bought all of that stuff off of Facebook Marketplace, and if y'all are interested, I can do a whole price breakdown in another video, so leave a comment if you're interested. And I bought the windows and doors before I actually even framed the cabin, just so I had all of the dimensions for the openings that I needed. That made my life a whole lot easier, but I did have that stuff sitting around in my mom's basement for longer than she probably wanted. That is other than the sliding door, that's a whole nother story. Since I'm transporting everything in my SUV, I actually had to use ropes and some ratchet straps to secure the sliding door on the roof of my SUV. Just like the straps, this was very ratchet, and I'm super relieved that we made it through the highway without losing the door, causing an accident, or hurting anybody. So that's a win in my books. Since I got the sliding door for next to nothing, it also didn't have a locking mechanism on it, so I had to make that myself. The actual door had a locking arm, it just had nothing to hold on to. So I drilled a hole and putting a nail in there, cutting off the head afterwards, and sealing everything up on both ends with some silicone. It's not the most secure, but at least I can lock this place up when I leave. Plus, if somebody really wanted to get in here, if there's a will, there's a way. Anyways, actually installing the sliding door was probably the easiest out of all of the fittings, just because it came with a nailing flange. So all I had to do was fill up all the holes with nails and I was good to go. For the windows, I pretty much just slipped them into place and secured them into the framing using some screws in the corners. After that, I ran a bunch of caulk and spray foam around the gaps just to make sure none of the bugs or water would get through. The front door was a little bit less straightforward, so I pretty much just fastened it into the framing using a bunch of nails and some screws. It works well though, and now that this place is completely sealed up from the elements, I guess you could consider it a real cabin now. And now I can actually sleep in here at night safe and sound. Definitely a huge improvement from before. I made sure all the windows and the doors were completely level when I installed them, and I can happily say that after putting them all into place, everything opens and closes freely. So I haven't screwed up anything too badly, at least yet. This place is actually so comfortable that I brought out my Xbox and started playing some 2K in the cabin, completely off-grid. You're probably wondering how I got to run all this stuff out in the middle of the woods. I actually bought a battery and a solar panel from Harbor Freight to charge any of my tool batteries, run the Xbox and some lights, and plug in a fan. The fan was a game changer, especially working out in the summer heat. This was just one day, but there were definitely times where it got to be over 100 degrees. Being in the Midwest though, it might be rainy and cold the next day. But back to the solar setup. This video is not sponsored at all. I have not received a dime or any product, so this is me just being brutally honest. I chose to get this Jackery power bank. That way I could store energy from the solar panels super effectively, and all of the connections are super convenient. I know there's a whole bunch of other brands with very similar products. I just got this one because it was actually an open box at Harbor Freight, so I saved a fair bit of money compared to getting something brand new. The cheapest way to do this would be actually getting a car battery or something similar, but then you need to get an inverter or some additional wiring just so you don't fry the whole system. With one of these portable power banks, it's all built in, so it's pretty much just plug and chug. I did have to get an adapter though for the solar panel to plug it into the power bank, but that's not a huge deal. To give this place a real cabin feel and to free up some space inside, it's time to work on some siding. All of the siding that you see in this video I got completely for free. However, I did have to put in quite a bit of elbow grease just to get them to be usable. I got all of this wood that I'm using for siding from a frame shop that was actually going out of business. All of these wood pieces were put behind the frame samples in his shop, and they were all covered up with fabric. The fabric was also glued and stapled into the wood, so I had to rip off all of the fabric and pry out about 1,000,000 staples by hand that were on the back side of these pieces of wood. Then all of the boards were planed down to get all of that adhesive and foam residue off of the wood. And if you look extra close at the edge of each of these boards, you can actually see each of the individual staple holes. Thankfully, I recruited my cousin and my brother to help me put the siding up, which made it a lot easier than it was preparing these boards. All of the siding also got a coat of stain on it before we got it screwed into the sheathing and into the studs. Not only do these planks look really good on my cabin, but they're also adding a decent amount of structural stability. We worked our way down from the roof, making sure that all of the boards were completely level. It was important to make sure that it was level starting from the top, because if it was off even a little bit, then every row of siding beneath that would get screwed up even more. Overall, I think it turned out really nicely. The only issue now is where I'm going to get the rest of the siding from. If you have any suggestions, I would love to hear them. But in the meantime, I'm going to try to make this place look a little bit prettier and put some trim around the windows and the doors where I have siding around them, as well as the corners of the cabin. For the trim, I use this aluminum sheet metal, some of which I got for free off of the curb, and I also got a roll of aluminum flashing at Home Depot too. I custom made all of the trim pieces by bending them myself, which doesn't look great, but it looks better the farther you stand back. To finish it off, I used some spray paint to try to match the roof color, and also used the same screws that I used for the roof to secure the trim into place. My main goal for the trim is just to fill up that gap in between the siding and the windows and doors. When I was painting some of the trim pieces, I had an uninvited guest on the property. I evicted this guy before I could tell what type of snake he was, and I'll just let the video speak for itself. Continuing on with the exterior work, it's about time I put some front steps on this cabin so I'm not jumping in and out off of cinder blocks. Before anything, I use these half cinder blocks or concrete pads, however you want to call it, and dug them into the ground about where my stairs were going to come into contact with the ground. Of course, making sure that it was all level in the process. I already had the steps for the stairs already lying around on the property that I got for free off of Facebook Marketplace. So I pretty much just cut out stair stringers from an 8-foot 2x, then nailed those stringers into a 2x6. That way I could just easily nail the 2x6 right into the cabin. If you watch this far into the video, you're pretty cool, so I'm going to give you a sneak peek at what you can expect from the next cabin video. Due to limited funds and limited materials, I'm going to be working on some of the interior work. And I also picked up some cheap decking, so I can get started on the deck and get closer to a final product. That's all I had for y'all today. I hope you enjoyed this video and this project. Leave a like if you did, and be sure to follow along for more videos where I'm working on this cabin. And leave a comment with any suggestions you have, or just your favorite part of this journey so far. I try my best to respond to all of those. If you want to stay connected or reach out personally, follow me on Instagram, WRLD Official. I'll be posting updates about this cabin, big fish I catch, or just some other fun stuff. And my DMs are always open. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.